Oh, there it is. Oh, technology. So much fun. Right, so I don't know how that first bet went from North Brisbane through the tunnels out towards Ipswich, but we're just passing Ipswich now. We've just taken the Warrego Highway, which goes west. The other highway, the Cunningham Highway, goes southwest towards Warwick and Stanthorpe, but we're heading towards Toowoomba. The Darren Lockyer Way. For those who don't know, Darren Lockyer was an amazing football player. Now commentates rugby league. I remember stopping on a live stream at that service station once. It was very wet. I was with Tezza, taking Tezza to his dad's place up in Toowoomba, and in the little Volkswagen EOS. I remember that EOS has never leaked in the rain before, but that day it did. It was dumped a bunch of water on him. Anyway, foggy. Speed camera. So it's funny how everyone slows down to 10 kilometres an hour below this posted speed for a speed camera. Anyway, hopefully without any tunnels in the way, we'll see how far we can get on the broadband whilst uploading before it drops out again. Hopefully to Toowoomba at least. So what am I driving? A brand new 2025. Oh wow, it's a bit foggy through here. 2025 Toyota Hilux space cab or extra cab or king cab, whatever you want to call it. The one with the very tiny back seat with the suicide doors, which is great if you don't have a family. Let's defog the windscreen. This one's auto, so makes things slightly less, I won't say complicated, but less less involved. So this vehicle I'm taking for the surveying company that I work for, casual, part-time, a few hours here, a few hours there, a few hours today. This vehicle it's all mine spec'd out and is being taken up to, well, I'm taking it up to Cloncurry. So Blackall today, Mount Isa tomorrow night. I've got a week's worth of work up there surveying with one of my co-workers, Steve. And then I'll drop this vehicle at Cloncurry so it can be used on a gold mine that's being built. Copper mine. It's a copper mine, but there's gold up there. Last vehicle I drove was a new Hilux to Wollongong, which was one of the new 48-volt hybrid Hiluxes. With that stop-start technology and an extra, I know it's an extra like 11 horsepower or something. Extra like 7 or 8 kilowatts of power if you uses the electric motor with the diesel motor. It's not about, it's not supposed to be for performance. It's supposed to help add for fuel economy. So the electric motor will assist getting up hills and things like that to help fuel economy. But it does stop start pretty quickly with the electric motor. Yeah, I think all these new Hiluxes now have the adaptive cruise control. So the lane departure assist doesn't have that blind spot warning on the mirrors. I'm assuming like higher spec vehicles like the SR5 and that might have. I'll tell you what though, this vehicle with the suicide doors has those quarter windows, the quarter glass, which has those little push out locks. I'm just going to assume that's where I can hear the air coming into the car. So there's a definite sound of, are you turning? Are you hitting the brakes and are you taking the off ramp? No. Very cautious of vehicles that are being unpredictable. Speed up, slow down, speed up, slow down. Now they're sitting on my 3/4, left rear 3/4. So 80k zone. Geez, the moon. Can we see the moon up there? That looks amazing. Again, unpredictable. So the Mazda's just like it's an 80 zone now. Just speed through. So sit around 95, 98 k's an hour on the speed up, slow down. Don't use your cruise control. And then when we hit an 80 zone, just blast through. Yeah, good work. Good work. Just unpredictable. Anyway, I was going to stop here, but I've had my coffee and I've still got half a tank. So I think we'll push on as the sun starts to come up. It looks like we've kept our internet connection since we've restarted, since we've got on the Warrego Highway. So, geez, every Bowser in that BP is chockers. So, woke up at 4 a.m. this morning, had a steak for breakfast, finished packing my stuff, set the set the cameras up for the live stream, and then rolled down at 5 a.m. to my local coffee shop. I'll bring the cruise control back in again. Not quite a full moon, but I'd call that 4/5. It's pretty bright up there though. I've been watching a documentary on YouTube. Listening actually, because there's no video. There's a few pictures and bits and pieces, but it's about the Apollo 13 mission to the moon, which they didn't make it. Which the three astronauts. I mean, there's obviously the movie Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks and Kevin Bacon. Can't remember the third person in there at the moment, but was it Gary Sinise? Can't remember. Anyway, Gary Sinise. I think he was on the ground. Anyway, very, very. What do you call it? A lot of detail in regards to what happened with the O2 fuel cell tanks exploding and them only barely getting back. Freaking awesome detail. A lot of the recordings from mission control, ground control, interviews with a lot of people involved. To go all the way to the moon and have to fly around the back of it and then just come home and not set foot. Well, I mean, only two out of the three astronauts didn't get to do what they were supposed to do because one of them was not going to be able to set foot on the moon. They were just going to stay in the wow, so many vehicles right there. Yeah, stay orbiting the moon. So at least whichever of the three astronauts that was, at least they did what they went going to do anyway. So only two of them were going to set foot on the moon, and they were the two that didn't get to. And here we go. Nice and foggy out here. Beautiful, crisp winter morning here in southeast Queensland. As the sun comes up and the moon goes down. What an awesome old Queenslander on the left there. A lot. I mean, not your traditional Queenslander with the balcony, the veranda all the way around, but still nice. Fuel's pretty cheap at the moment. Do like to do a fuel report. 167.9 for normal unleaded at the moment, which means premium unleaded is under $2 a litre. Oh, $2 a litre. I remember when I bought my first V8 back in 1993. 351 4-speed manual XD, which is slightly ironic because I've got another one now. I remember fuel was 67.9 cents a litre when I bought that car back in 93. And I was thinking, like, you have to spend $2 to get 3 litres, basically. Is that right? $2 to get 3 litres, that's it. And I was like, and my XD had an 80-litre fuel tank, and I remember at the same time, my boss at the time gave me his fuel account, details to his fuel account, and said, yeah, fill up. And I looked at the V8 with an 80-litre fuel tank, and I was thinking, wow, that's going to cost like $50 to fill. That's amazing that my boss was going to do that. Probably only needed to fill it up once a week. I remember filling up from empty to full, 80-litre fuel tank for $50. Wow. So long ago. Getting a bit glitchy now, I see. A little bit glitchy on the live stream there. We're going to hit some hills soon. Head up the range to Toowoomba. Well, we're not actually going to go to Toowoomba. We're going to take the Toowoomba bypass because that road is terrible. Hopefully we get good coverage through there because that is a nightmare. That road's not that old, and it is terrible. There's been there's been cuttings. I wonder if you can still see where the concrete. So sometimes when they put a road through a cutting, like we're about to go through a cutting now, and with signs that say falling rocks for the next 1.2 k's. Yeah, so we're going through a cutting now, but rock wall cutting, so they haven't very much. But sometimes they put concrete. They cover the cutting walls with concrete, and where we're about to go, the concrete has come away and slid down the wall, like onto or at least near the road. So hopefully our internet lasts us through there. Is that the same as the 344? Obviously can go back and check the rego. That's one thing I have noticed driving in the mornings is how many people roll out of bed, jump in the car, and drive off before sunrise and don't turn their lights on. I know I talk about it a lot on the channel because it happens a lot. It is crazy how often it happens. And then, so here's a question, and I've asked it before, but if you're driving along at night or in the early mornings before sunrise and a car comes up and gets in front of you and then they turn their lights off and then turn them back on, wouldn't you think, like, okay, that's a bit weird. Why are they doing that? Because recently there's been people driving around in the dark and they've not had their lights on or just been driving around on their DRLs, which means they don't have any tail lights. And I'll get in front of them, I'll turn my lights off for a couple of seconds and then turn them back on, and nothing. They don't. It's like they don't think. Oh, maybe I should check my lights. Good morning, Jeffrey. How are you today? Thanks for joining the live chat. We're going to go as far as we can until we run out of internet, and then I'm going to turn the GoPro on, and I'm going to try and film my whole drive to Mount Isa from Brisbane, so nearly 2,000 kilometres worth. So hopefully there's enough room on the SD card in the GoPro that once we lose the live stream, we will. I'll film the rest of it today and then hopefully upload tonight. So that should be up tonight. Won't be live, unfortunately, but that's what happens when you're out in the middle of nowhere and there's no internet. I am definitely toying with the idea of Starlink, but everyone that I've seen so far on the internet that's tried to live stream with Starlink has failed. So I know the technology will support it. I just don't think we have any plans in Australia that provide enough bandwidth for an upload. But as soon as it happens, I'm there. Starlink on the car. I want to drive from Sydney to Perth and live stream the whole way. I guess that's one difference. I've seen someone in America live streamed from one side to the other. I think from like New York to LA. Took a few days, but they've got a lot of infrastructure in the United States to be able to support a live stream across the whole country. But anyway, glad to see you there, Jeffrey. Windscreen fogging up just a touch, so let's clear that. Must be my heavy breathing. I did a live stream to Sydney from Brisbane a few months ago now, and it took we lost internet 6 times. It took 7 parts to get there. So it was about 10 or 11 hours worth of driving. And every time it dropped out, we'd restart it. And that was from Brisbane Airport to Sydney Airport. From the Loop at B&E to Sheps Mound at SYD. I thought that would make a few of the plane spotters smile. But yeah, I'm trying to think if that was with Telstra or Optus that I did that one with. I think it was Optus, so Telstra might not drop out as bad. That's one thing with the automatic version of the Hilux with the adaptive cruise control is, like, my feet aren't even on the pedals. Like, I'm there and I'm ready just in case, but the vehicle in front of me slows down to 80 k's. I slow down to 80 k's and keep a safe distance behind them. I'm set on the medium distance. There's three distances for the adaptive cruise control radar. So depending upon the speed and whereabouts you're driving, you can change it. What's the temperature outside? There's that elephant. Hello, elephant. It's 9 degrees outside at the moment in southeast Queensland. Actually, I believe it snowed last week in the Southern Highlands here, like around Stanthorpe, which it has done. I've been to the snow there. I remember when I was a kid, my grandparents picked us up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning from North Brisbane. We had no idea what was going on. I might have been like 12 years of age. They packed us up in the car and drove us to Stanthorpe, and by the time we got there, it was just after dawn, and there was enough snow on the ground there was a snowman there, and we were having snow fights, and that was in Queensland. The first time I ever saw snow in Queensland was in Queensland. It's pretty crazy to think. Well, we're starting to get a bit of development out here with the big Bunnings. It's so beautiful out here. Hungry Jack's, McDonald's, there's a pub, the drive-through, a couple of servos. A few BCF. Gyms. The Mitre 10 that's been out here for a little while. I remember passing this a bunch of times heading out this way. So whilst the stream is this isn't country driving. It's so nice out here. But I will be talking about country driving. So one thing I'm going to note is when you get past a certain point, like out west, you start to not see as many vehicles. And then people start to, like, wave. So as you pass another car, usually get people waving. I'm just going to take note of who waves and who doesn't. Is it Baron? Hello, Baron. How are you? Thanks for joining me for this morning for as long as you stay. Just cruising out west of Brisbane, heading to Mount Isa, but I'll get there tomorrow. I'll get to Blackall tonight and then Mount Isa tomorrow. What's up? Just cruising, man. Just enjoying the cool weather out here. So we're closing in on Gatton. So Gatton's 12 k's away. A good 10 or 11 hours of driving today. I'll get to Blackall tonight and then Mount Isa tomorrow. We'll pass some really cool spots like the McKinley pub. I usually stop in for a drink. That's where they film the Crocodile Dundee pub scenes. The Blue Healer. I believe Banjo Patterson performed Waltzing Matilda there for the first time ever back in the day. So that's got some history. A bunch of small towns like Winton, Longreach, Roma, Miles, up through to Cloncurry, and then into Mount Isa. Oh, you're in the UK, mate. Yeah, it's definitely. It's well, welcome. Is it last night for you? You're 10 hours behind, about so 6. What's it? 8 o'clock. Around 8 o'clock Sunday night for you. It's Monday morning here. Everybody's off to work. I'm driving northwest from Brisbane to Mount Isa over the next 2 days. So I'm live streaming as much as I can, but we'll internet soon. And then it's already been a bit glitchy this morning. So 9:30 Sunday night. Oh, and no Formula One to watch. Well, thanks for joining me. I am definitely looking forward. I was talking to a friend of mine. She's from Herefordshire, and I was chatting with her yesterday, just saying the differences between the driving culture between the UK and Australia. Even though we drive on the same side of the road, right-hand drive vehicles, just the driving culture. Like I believe your speed limits are a little bit higher than ours. Ours are usually around 110 k's an hour, whereas you guys go a little bit quicker. And but I'm looking forward to getting over to the UK and doing some driving live over there. That's going to be sick. Manchester. I heard they got a good soccer team. Actually, don't they have two good soccer teams? Sorry, you would call it football. We definitely call it soccer over here in Queensland. Most of us refer to football as the rugby league. So I don't know how big the Manchester Rugby League football team is. I know the London Broncos because we have the Brisbane Broncos. I know of Wigan, St Helens. I know a few of those good teams over there that have, especially when we play like the grand final winners of Australia play the grand final winners of England. So that's usually a pretty good game. Boring, boring. What's boring? Soccer or rugby league? I wouldn't say it's boring, but it's definitely not my favourite sport. Motorsport's definitely my favourite. You live in Happy Valley? What's that little tin pot town called Todd Morden? Sounds like it's named after a person. Both, yeah, fair enough. What about motorsport? Do you follow the F1 or the British touring cars or something? Always good to have people from overseas. Actually, I've got a few moderators. I think they're all asleep at the moment. I've got a few moderators around Australia, but I'm definitely looking for a moderator from the UK. That's for sure. Um, Looking to grab some. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, F1. I mean, England invented F1, so you know. Uh, and you've got three British. We got three British people in the top six, I believe, at the moment, which is pretty good with Lewis Hamilton and George Russell and Lando Norris. They're all pretty cool. But it's pretty cool to have an Aussie leading the F1 championship at the moment. It's been a while. Yeah, sick, Baron. That'd be awesome. Yeah, if you stick around on the channel for a while as we get bigger and bigger, because I've only just started, and as the channel grows, I'm definitely looking forward to hitting 1,000 subscribers. But as the channel grows, we're definitely going to come overseas. So Driving Live Australia visits the UK, and we'll definitely be talking about the differences between road rules and driving culture between the two countries. We're definitely heading to Japan next year. And then my colleague and I were having a meal yesterday, having lunch, and this Colombian girl was serving us. She served us before. Actually, she served me about like 3 months ago for the first time. And yesterday we were back there and she remembered what I had, which was pretty impressive. But I was asking her about driving around Colombia. That sounds like it'd be an adventure. Yeah, you've definitely. Well, I knew you subscribed, Baron, because you can't you can't you can't talk on the live chat until a couple of minutes after you've subscribed. So, no, thank you. I appreciate it. Definitely keen to have a lot of input from other countries. Definitely the UK. I've not driven around the UK. I've visited for a few days. I've spent a couple of days looking around London, and then I caught the train up to Hull for the weekend. And you'll probably ask me the same question: why would I visit Hull? Well, I mean, it's Yorkshire. If you're going to have Yorkshire pudding, might as well go to Yorkshire. But a friend that I was staying with in London, she grew up in Hull, and her parents were up there. Her family were up there, so we went up there and visited for the weekend, which was pretty cool. So, Jeffrey, are you saying you're from Scotland? Get out. Well, like I said just now, I've been to Hull. That's as close to Scotland as I've ever been. I don't think that's too far from Newcastle. Actually, the train that I caught had some old carriages from the Flying Scotsman. So that was pretty cool. Oh, Baron, you're all over it, mate. That's keep going like that. You might have to be a moderator, the UK moderator. Depends, Baron. What do you drive? Are you a car enthusiast? I know a lot of people in the UK drive diesels. I definitely do not own a diesel vehicle myself. I actually have about 14 cars and 4 motorcycles. None of them diesels. Although today I'm driving the work car and it is a diesel. TD5 Disco. So a D2. That's a Land Rover, yeah. Land Rover. Did I get that right? Land Rover Defender or Discovery? Land Rover Discovery or Defender? One of those. So Baron, you're in Inverness. Inverness is Scotland, right? So I'll tell you what, the weather must be really nice over there at the moment. I was watching the Goodwood Festival of Speed not long ago. The weather looked amazing, being summer over there at the moment. Geez, if this channel goes super well, I might be there this time next year, if the weather's nice like. Yeah, disco. I I was in the Australian Army for, well, 20 years, and we had Land Rover Defender 110s, or some people call them Parentis. Um, just the boring 3.9 litre, four-cylinder, non-turbo um, diesels. But I'm keen to get one from the Australian military auctions because they're cool. They go anywhere. I want to use it to drive around Australia. So I use it for a work vehicle as well, but also stick a half-ton trailer on the back and go camping. I know that the UK and Scotland, some of the when I see, well, I mean Top Gear. When Top Gear was at its peak, what, Scotland, Wales, the UK, all through the UK, incredible. Um, and then again, put the car on the Channel train and go to France, Germany. So many amazing roads over in Europe. Definitely looking forward to coming over. So good to have. The best part about driving all by myself when I live stream and have some people on there, it's so cool because it's like I'm not alone. Good old Clarkson. Yeah, I'm off. I'm off Clarkson now. Like when Top Gear was at its height, it was awesome. Like I watched it religiously. All their challenges that they did, even their races usually across the UK, where it might be public transport versus the car. Or I remember when James May flew his plane. I remember one in a boat. I think that was Richard Hammond was in a boat or something. Anyway, that was amazing. That was awesome TV. No wonder they were the best TV show in the world at the time. But then I think they just got too big for the show. I mean, I think that's why they got fired. And now I know they do the Grand Tour. I'm off them. Where am I going, Jeffrey? So I don't know how well you know Australia, but yeah, I mean, you can always pull a map up. I live in Brisbane, Queensland, which is in the southeast corner of Queensland, Australia, after Western Australia. So I'm doing close to 2,000 kilometre drive from Brisbane to Mount Isa. Mount Isa is a mining town where they mine mainly copper. And I'm doing some surveying up there for a week, but then I'm dropping this vehicle off at a little town called Cloncurry, which is just a little bit east of Mount Isa. So I'll drop this vehicle off there in a week's time. And it'll be our third vehicle that we're using on site whilst we build another copper mine up there. So it's about 2-year build. They've been going for on and off for a year now. I got up there this time last year to help set up and start surveying. Clarkson's Farm Series. I've not. I've been off Clarkson since he left. Since Top Gear changed, and I just haven't really followed what he does. But like, I watch YouTube enough that little clips come up here and there. So, and I have been told that it's worth watching, but I would rather watch Matt Armstrong fix damaged cars. If I'm going to watch some UK stuff, Matt Armstrong's definitely someone that I'll watch. Have I seen the Aussie Top Gear? Well, so we had an Australian Top Gear here maybe 15 years ago when Top Gear started to spread out throughout the world. I actually was in the studio audience for 2 of the recordings for Top Gear Australia back in the day. The new Top Gear Australia I have seen because it involves Moog from Mighty Car Mods, which is one of Australia's biggest car shows on YouTube. I've met the boys from Mighty Car Mods, and there's a few of the other guys that are on Mighty Car Mods. I've known Benny Neal or Mechanical Stig. I've known Benny Neal now for maybe 15 years, probably close to that. Before Mighty Car Mods got as big as they are. So he's got his own channel called Benny's Custom Works, and he's been drag racing quite a lot, especially in Australia and America. And then there was another spin-off, some guys, Turbo Yoda and Woody from, well, they're up near my way in Queensland, Noosa on the Sunshine Coast. They got a spin-off show called The Skid Factory, and I met Woody only a couple of weeks ago at a car meet, and I've hit him up and said, do you want to come and get interviewed with me on a live stream drive? And he's up for it, so that'd be cool. All right, so we're coming up to the new section of highway which bypasses Toowoomba. And a race car. Oh, Nissan. Oh, that was one of the Super 2 cars, the Nissan Altima V8 supercar. That was on the other side of the road, getting towed. All right, so I got to not make a mistake here. So if I take the off ramp, that will take me up in through Toowoomba. But we will be going straight and then up the Warrego Highway bypass. Baron, thanks for joining me for that for this morning, a little bit of this morning's drive. I appreciate it, mate. And yeah, hopefully look forward to catch. Look after yourself. Awesome. Oh, the chat lately here in Australia is lifting the posted speed to 130 kilometres an hour. And 9 out of 10 people who were surveyed said yes, they were in favour of lifting our motorway speeds up to 130, in line with Europe and the UK. The problem with that is the education around that. It's not as simply as just driving Uh, so, yes. But I do agree that our driving culture here in Australia needs to change. Also, a really one of the biggest issues is when immigrants move to Australia and start driving around, and if they don't adopt the Australian driving culture, it can be quite disruptive to traffic. Um, I'm all for immigration as long as it's done correctly. However, immigrants need to integrate as well, learn the driving of the new place that they've moved to, regardless of whether it's here or anywhere else, and drive to that culture. Don't drive to the culture you grew up in the country that you were born in or learned to drive in. A big one is it's a big cultural thing in Australia that if somebody lets you in, if somebody makes a space for you to get in, especially when traffic's congested, you give them a wave. But there's some cultures, they move to Australia and they don't adopt that, and it's can cause some road rage. Why is my windscreen fogging up? Oh, that's a bit better. How much colder is it outside all of a sudden? 7 degrees. We've gone from 9 degrees to 7 degrees. The windscreen's the windscreen's not doing very well. Let's see if we can put some water on there and help it out. I've got the windscreen. I've got the air blowing on the inside of the windscreen. That hasn't. It's not really helping. Oh, here's some roadkill. There's one dead kangaroo that hasn't made it through the night. That's a fresh roadkill. All right, so we've got some concrete on the cuttings here. That's not too bad, but definitely up further. Western Waka Waka, the First Nations people around here. Dusty roads? No, not yet. There will be dusty roads definitely later today and tomorrow. But I can't touch wood anywhere, but the internet's hanging in there at the moment, which is awesome. Now, there'll be dusty roads, but probably not on the live stream because there won't be